Cool.
So, couple things I want to clear up my Justin Fields mechanic issues. I don't think he's totally mechanically flawed. I just noticed some changes, or there's some things I've noticed in the 2020 season as opposed to how he was in 2019. And a couple things. If you go back and watch it, like when he tried to throw to the sideline, like those 10 to 15 yard out routes,
yeah,
his ball kind of seems to sail on him a little bit. And I'm a big stickler on throwing motion because I'm a baseball coach, and I teach my kids this all the time. Like when you dip your arm down at the down angle and then kind of swing it back up, it will tend to make the ball sail off to the right. And that's my concern with him in the NFL. I mean, I know he can throw the deep pass. I know he can throw the short intermediate, like, short crossing routes of screens. However, I just worry about him, on those throws to the sidelines, which, they do a lot in the NFL. That's my concern. And then as far as his footwork goes, in 2020, he made a lot of bad throws where he wasn't really setting his feet. Now, granted, he had people in his face, but it just looked like he threw off his front foot a lot, or, his feet had more like a wider base as opposed to more like balanced, base. That's where I was really concerned with, and that's what concerns me with him in the NFL, and I just don't want him to go. Now, don't get me wrong, I think he's incredibly talented. I know he'll do well in the NFL, but I just think those are a couple things he needs to fix in order, to be a successful NFL quarterback. And you know how it is. The NFL scouts are really nitpicky, and I know a lot of scouts really like Zach Wilson too. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Zach Wilson actually got picked ahead of Fields. What concerns me, though, with Wilson is he's kind of small-framed. He's really talented, don't get me wrong, but he's really small-framed. He reminds me a lot of Josh Rosen, because Josh Rosen is a really kind of small-framed guy. And he took a beating in the Pac-12, you know what I mean? So I think that's one big reason why he didn't make it. So, or really pan out in the NFL. But the main reason why I wanted to call was, kind of touch back on the transfer portal here. If you remember about a week or two ago when you had the OSU guys on, my question was, how does Ryan Day, what does Ryan Day need to do to keep all those wide receivers in the wide receiver room happy? And you said, well, I don't really think it's his job to keep players happy, which is true. But in today's climate and with how players are so quick to transfer, that's why I asked that question. So what do you think? I mean, I know you already said, I asked you, what kind of restrictions or reform can they do? But, I mean, I don't know how else to fix anything without, I don't know what, I guess, to kind of limit how many times you can transfer or what they can really do with this portal. So what do you think?
Again, the first thing that I commented to when I saw your remark was that I first need to have an understanding if there is such a thing, and I haven't come across anybody who's been able to answer this question about there being a deadline. So I would think that there should at least be some kind of deadline as to, let's say, 2 weeks after spring practice is over. Well, everybody has spring practice at a different time. So let's say on May 1st or May 15th, that is the deadline for anybody to enter the transfer portal who expects to play that fall. Because players transferring in the middle of the summer, I just think that coaches need stability. They need to be able to plan and have an expectation of who's going to be on the roster and how thin they're going to be at particular units. So that's one thing I'd like to see. Secondly, I do think that there needs to be some type of, and I wrestle with this, Rod, because we live in a free country, and I see our freedoms eroding by the day, and I don't want to push it anymore. And we live in a free country, so for the non-student athlete, they can transfer as much as they want. They can transfer all over the place. Now, they're, of course, not accountable at all to a school that's given them an opportunity and is paying for school room and board for them to be there. So there's not that.
It's almost like the one-and-done system in college basketball to a degree where, you don't like it as a fan, but at the same time, you got to let those athletes have the freedom to do what they feel is best for them. I mean, would you agree?
Yeah, I'm not coming up with a good reason that's not selfish on the fans' part or a team or coach's part to restricting these players from leaving school and going somewhere else.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe, I don't know, like you said, I've been wrestling with this too. What kind of restrictions could they do? Like, say, for instance, if you're trying to transfer out after just 1 year at a school, make that player sit out, regardless, unless they have like some type of significant injury or a loved one got sick, like in the case of Trayvon Grimes, why he left Ohio State because his mother was really sick. But I don't know. I think there's got to be something to kind of control this. But at the same time, I mean, what do you do? I mean, without it kind of seeming like where it doesn't seem like unfair. You know what I mean? Because then you're going to have, well, you know, there's some type of discrimination or some type of resentment, you know, or this team or this school's not going to let this player transfer because of this reason. You know, it's kind of like when, what's his name? Antoine Jackson at Ohio State, when he was just at Auburn for a year and he was trying to leave, and Auburn put a restriction on just 3 schools. 2 of them were in the SEC, I believe, and 1 was Ohio State, which we were obviously a second choice. So that forced him, and as opposed to just sitting out, he had to go play at a JUCO for a year, and then he came to Ohio State where he was eligible. And I think, you know, if a player has to do that, that's 2 years that they lose. So I don't know. I think they really need to do something for the benefit of the sport. But at the same time, what do you do? Because, you know, you don't know what's going on in that athlete's life. I'd say also, for instance, that situation, I forget the player's name. He was leaving Michigan trying to transfer to Cincinnati. Trying to say he had mental health problems, and then Harbaugh somewhat called him out or tried to accuse him of faking it. So as soon as you have a coach do something like that, then you're just, all hell's going to break loose. You're going to have, and Harbaugh got killed for it. And I think when you had that incident, that's why I think you saw the NCAA just kind of say, yeah, anyone can just kind of transfer whatever they want with the Justin Fields situation or the Tate Martell situation, things like that. They have to do something, or it's just going to continue to get worse.
Okay,
I don't know what else they can do.
How about this, Rod? And I'm not saying this is a perfect plan. I devised this in about 30 seconds. But transfer number 1, without any penalty, any stipulations, any conditions, any excuse, nothing. You get to transfer once. Second transfer has to be qualified based on one of these criteria. Either the head coach left, your position coach left, or you can prove that you do have some type of family issue that you want to move closer to home, or the stipulation that you will transfer, but you will sit out because this is an academic decision. You are sitting out a year and won't be eligible until the next football season.
I like that. Not sure if I agree with the position coach because of how often those guys leave. You know what I mean? And then
yeah, I understand that, but at the same time, these student athletes are most bonded to the position coach, and they're the one that really recruited them and built the relationship. Right.
You're right. All right, Mark. Well, that's all I had. That's all I had. Enjoying the show as always, and looking forward to the next call. Sorry, no trivia tonight.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Rod. Appreciate it.
All right, take care, bye.
We always love the trivia, folks. Always love the trivia. All right. All right, so I've got a posted comment here from Mike3883. So, Mike, I'm not going to explain it right here, but I'm going to ask that if you don't think that college football scheduling needs to be fixed, if we're talking about conference scheduling, check out any of the conference videos that I posted. And then once we get to the non-conference schedule, I will address all of this down here, okay? And you will hopefully be convinced why non-conference scheduling in college football needs to be fixed.